Eastern Conference in predicted order of finish: Metropolitan Division, Pittsburgh Penguins, last season 111 points, second in division, won second consecutive Stanley Cup and third in 9 years. Ice Chips will try to become the first team to win 3 consecutive Stanley Cups since the Islanders won 4 in a row from 198,083. Wayne Gretzky never won 3 in a row. Neither did Mario Lemieux. Assistant coach Rick Tocchet left to take the Coyotes' head coaching position. He was replaced by Mark Recchi. Lost longtime goalie Marc-Andre Fleury in the expansion draft. New York Rangers, last season 102 points, fourth in division, lost to Ottawa in second round. Ice Chips added Washington's Kevin Shattenkirk, which will help the power play and the defense, but traded forward Derek Stepan, who was third on the team in scoring last season. The key piece in the Stepan deal with Arizona is Anthony Dingello, another defenseman with strong offensive skills. Dingello, from Sewell, NJ, is 21 and already with his third organization. Tampa Bay drafted him in the first round in 2014. Columbus Blue Jackets, last season 108 points, third in division, lost to Pittsburgh in first round. Ice Chips swapped Brendan Saad for Artemi Panarin from Chicago. Panarin has scored at least 30 goals in his 2 NHL seasons, is a two-time All-Star and was Rookie of the Year in 201,516. The Blue Jackets have never made the playoffs in consecutive seasons. Washington Capitals, last season 118 points, most in NHL, lost to Pittsburgh in second round. Ice Chips: nobody was stung more by the NHL's decision to forbid players from participating in the 2018 Olympics than Capitals star Alex Ovechkin. He had a 3-year run of 50 goals snapped last season when he scored 33. The Caps lost a ton of veterans, including Justin Williams and Marcus Johansson, in a salary cap crunch. They did decide to keep young star Evgeny Kuznetsov, 25, with a $62.4 million contract. Kuznetsov is 7 years younger than Ovechkin and the future face of the franchise. Philadelphia Flyers, last season 88 points, 6th in division, no playoffs. Ice Chips: a bunch of nameplates have changed in the locker room, but the core group, especially some of the maligned forwards, remains intact. Claude Giroux will start the season playing left wing with Jake Voracek on the right side and Sean Couturier centering. Giroux, the team captain, has centered the first line for most of his career. Brian Elliott replaced Steve Mason as one of the goalies alongside Michal Neuvirth. New York Islanders, last season 94 points, 5th in division, missed playoffs by 1 point. Ice Chips: the Islanders will play their third season in Brooklyn, a location many of their core fans still hate, but a site where the Isles have played pretty well. 472,312. The more pertinent issue is the status of franchise star John Tavares, who can become a free agent next summer. Tavares, 27, is in his prime and has all the leverage. New Jersey Devils, last season 70 points, 8th in division, finished last in the conference. Ice Chips: the Devils scored the fewest goals in the Eastern Conference and tied for most allowed. All eyes are on number 1 overall pick Nico Hischier. Acquired Marcus Johansson, 61 goals over last 3 seasons from Washington. Reliable fourth-line center Brian Boyle was diagnosed with early-stage chronic myeloid leukemia. Doctors think oral medication will be sufficient to treat Boyle. Carolina Hurricanes, last season 87 points, 7th in division, no playoffs. Ice Chips haven't been to the postseason in 8 years, the longest current drought in the league. Not surprisingly, the Hurricanes were last in attendance last season at an average of 11,776 per game. In fact, 3 of the 4 teams with the lowest attendances are in this division: Carolina 30th, the Islanders 28th, and the Devils 27th. Arizona was 29th. Atlantic Division: Toronto Maple Leafs, last season 95 points, 4th in division, lost in first round to Washington. Ice Chips: the Leafs are one of the most fun young teams in the league. It'll be interesting to see if last year's taste of the postseason means anything for this season. 3 of their top 5 scorers were under 21 years old, including Austin Matthews, who just turned 20 on September 17. He was tied for second in the NHL with 40 goals and ran away with the Rookie of the Year award. Tampa Bay Lightning, last season 94 points, 5th in division, missed playoffs by 1 point. Ice Chips will host the All-Star Game on January 28. Defenseman Mikhail Sergachev, 19, is ready to start contributing. He was the key piece in the deal that sent Jonathan Drouin to Montreal. Steven Stamkos' knee and Ryan Callahan hip both look healthy after missing extensive time with injuries. Florida Panthers, last season 81 points, 6th in division, no playoffs. Ice Chips underachieved big time last season, which led to Bob Bowner taking over as coach and Dale Talon returning as general manager. Chose not to resign Jaromir Jagr. Top winger Jonathan Huberdeau, who missed the first 51 games because of injury during an exhibition game last year, had an excellent preseason. Ottawa Senators last season 98 points, second in division, lost to Pittsburgh in conference finals. Ice Chips. The Senators were one of the best stories from last season. They pushed the Penguins to double overtime in Game 7 of the Eastern Finals after not making the playoffs in 201,516. Star defenseman Erik Karlsson, who valiantly played through torn tendons in his ankle during the playoff run, is expected to be in the lineup for Thursday's opener or shortly thereafter. Boston Bruins last season 95 points, third in division, lost to Ottawa in first round. Ice Chips possibly using two rookies among their top six forwards with Anders Bjork on the first line and Jake DeBrusk on the second. 40-year-old Zdeno Chara still anchors the defense, something coach Bruce Cassidy said isn't an issue. Until he proves he can't play, he's our guy, Cassidy told the Boston Herald. I don't see that happening anytime soon. He's our shutdown guy. Buffalo Sabres last season 78 points, last in division, no playoffs. Ice Chips took a slight step back from 81 points in 201,516, which cost head coach Dan Bylsma his job. Phil Housley, a Hall of Fame defenseman who played for the Sabres from 198,290, is an NHL head coach for the first time. Young star Jack Eichel has 113 points in 142 games over his first 2 years, which he characterized as disappointing. 2 mediocre seasons on a losing team, he grumbled. Montreal Canadiens last season 103 points, first in division, upset by Rangers in first round. Ice Chips forward Jonathan Drouin finally got out of Tampa Bay and landed in what could be hockey heaven for him. French-Canadian stars in Montreal. Drouin was born in Quebec, or part rock star Spart hockey players. The Canadiens have posted 100 points in 3 of the last 4 years but are dealing with a Stanley Cup drought that will reach 25 years this spring. Detroit Red Wings last season 79 points, 7th in division, snapped a 25-year run of postseason appearances. Ice Chips will play at Little Caesars Arena in downtown Detroit after 37 years at Joe Louis Arena, which had been the second oldest NHL venue after Madison Square Garden. Goaltender Jimmy Howard noted that the boards aren't nearly as lively as they were at the Joe. The Flyers' 2 games at the Pizza Joint are January 23 and March 20, both Tuesdays.